Welcome to the Khyber Pass podcast, where we interview musicians, improvisers that have passed through on their journey to play at the Khyber Pass Cafe Thursday night concert series. Tonight, we have Michelle Kinney, cellist and composer. She sat in with Merciless Ghost Quartet for the concert. Personnel were George Cartwright, saxophone, Davu Seru, drums, Noah O.B. on cornet, Josh Gronowski, upright. Michelle joined them on cello for one continuous set of improvisation, group setting, midwinter in Minnesota. Michelle sat down with us before the concert to share a bit of who she is, where she comes from, and where she's going. As an improviser, musician, we'll have a short clip from the concert and then directly roll into our time with Michelle in conversation. As always, the podcast is brought to you by the Khyber Pass Cafe on Grand Avenue in St. Paul, featuring a Thursday night music series presenting musicians and improvisers of the highest caliber that we can locate and present. I'm your host, Paul Metzger. I hope you're enjoying the series. And now, we'll move into the Merciless Ghost with Michelle Kinney on cello, followed by the interview. Michelle Kinney, thank you for coming and being willing to be on the podcast.
Well, thank you, Paul.
Yeah. And we'll just jump into it.
Okay.
One thing I like to know about for musicians is where things started for you. What was it like when you first heard something and decided you wanted to, or whatever happened at the beginning for you?
Okay. I kind of think that, it all starts with your family. And I had a grandmother who was just a complete and total crazy woman and had a beautiful voice and would play the piano constantly and would sit down with us and teach us to harmonize.
Vocally? You're doing
Vocally,
mm-hmm.
yeah. When we were very young, and my mom was really into giving us all piano lessons to start, and so it all kind of fed into each other. And then I grew up very Catholic and sang a lot in church. My parents weren't really musicians. Nobody, we're all like, my grandparents owned an A&W, they had a restaurant, family restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And my mother grew up in that context, and we all worked there when we were kids. And
Well, so you had siblings and stuff, it sounds like.
Lots of siblings.
Where are you at?
Good Catholics. I'm the oldest of 6.
Damn, all right.
And so we had music in the house, but it was mostly music in church and music when Grandma would sit and play and sing with us. And she had a ukulele too. And so she, I think, is probably my first teacher. And then the contexts were church and listening to the radio. But I think teaching harmony at an early age is what drew me to the voice of the cello and its place.
Okay.
And then when I saw that and demonstrated in 4th or 5th grade, it just really, somehow it was like a Cupid's arrow to the heart. This guy was up on stage playing the cello, and I just went, whoa.
It was that
melted.
thing, so would they bring in players?
Yeah.
Maybe from, the local orchestra or something, and then...
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Do you?
Yeah, because I remember, and then...
That happened to you, too.
You could go up after,
Uh-huh.
and, maybe pluck the thing.
Yeah.
And then it's, for a lot of people, their first time having that kind of proximity to a weird thing.
Yeah.
Like the cello's fucking weird.
It's weird.
Yeah, and so...
And it was the first time to really get up
where you got it.
Close to an instrument, yeah.
So you're with Grams and singing church choir level kind of vibe, and then radio. What's radio? What do you...
Well, for me it was Jackson 5, Roberta Flack, Aretha, a lot of Motown stuff. And pop music, because there was no one in my vicinity to show me otherwise. My mom was really into the Doors. I remember that came into our house, and I dug that.
Yeah.
But it was mostly what I could get on the radio, and Beatles were kind of part of it too. And I had one of those record players that were totally plastic in my bedroom, and I would just play. I had set the needle down and just play it over and over and over and over and over and over.
Do you remember what
again.
records were in your go pile?
Well, I do remember whatever record had the first time I saw your face on it.
Yeah.
I played that over and over again.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That
I mean, the
kills
phrasing,
me.
it still kills me.
Yeah, it's perfection.
It is.
Yeah.
And all the Jackson 5 stuff.
Yeah.
My favorite Jackson brother was Tito.
Okay. What was Tito playing? Did he play bass?
He was a bass player, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I remember those cats too.
Yeah. They were pretty cool for, I mean, of course there was coolest stuff out there, but if you had no access to it, you didn't know about it.
So where, are you in the Twin Cities, or are you...
Yeah, I grew up in Anoka.
Okay.
St. Paul first, and then my family moved to Anoka, and that's where I was in junior high and high school.
Okay.
Couldn't be prouder.
Dig. I couldn't be more ashamed, so this is a good...
No,
so you have...
Kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah. You have the introduction to seeing and hearing a cello live. Knowing, that in and of itself is so awesome.
Yeah.
Not on a recording and a music appreciation class, and
No.
it's a Rostropovich doing something, but you don't even really know. At least I didn't, when someone's playing that. But you saw it.
I heard it. And
heard it. That's so great.
The guy's name was Ken Davenport. And he was a big music. You know, I think in Anoka we got lucky because there were two music families who shared their lives for the community, the Meltings and the Davenports. And Ken was the elder guy, and he played the cello, and his face turned bright red. And
When he played?
When he played, and even in front of the, you know, it was emotional for him, I guess.
Yeah.
In front of the fifth graders in the public school, and
Yeah, I get around fifth graders, I turn red.
yeah.
There's a lot of energy there.
So he got through to me, and you know.
Then
and then
what did you do with that? Like,
well, I really think that a part of being able to be a musician when you're young is to have it be incorporated in your social life.
okay.
At least for me, you know. And like all the other kind of nerdy kids, the Meltings and the Davenports kind of had these little quartets that and quintets that they made of the young kids, and they took us around to the old folks' home and the community meetings, and they had us perform constantly, and it was.
So you flowed into what that was, are you saying?
Yeah.
So what's in between there, though? I'm just so curious about that. Like, you heard the cello, and then you're not just suddenly in a quartet or something, yeah?
Well, kind of.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, they started people really from the beginning, and, you know, they'd have people over to their house, and Bonnie Melting's daughter was my age, so I was lucky to be in.
Oh, see,
but she had a couple
big.
daughters, so I was in the first wave of her.
Well, so what? You go home, you say something. I'm kind of obsessed with the minutia of it, but if it's irritating, you just tell me to shut up. But you go home and say something to your folks, like, I want to get with the cello, or how did...
I kind of pretty much said that, but my mom was interested in providing a musical education for us, and, you know, she was the one who grew up working at an A&W, her family running this A&W, and she wanted to, you know, the next generation have more opportunities for her kids, and she wanted us all to have music, and it stuck with me. It didn't really stick with the rest of my family. But
was the grandma her mom?
Yeah. And she actually emigrated from Ireland, so she was she was scrapping.
Rocking the brogue and...
Well, she was getting it together by the time she arrived young, like 7.
Sure.
And, you know, she also, talk about minutia, she suffered deafness from scarlet fever when she was young, so she was a lip reader and went to the school for the deaf in high school, but she could sing and she could play.
God damn.
I know. So somehow it came through, you know. She wasn't totally stone deaf, and she wasn't born that way.
Yeah, but that's heavy, trippy.
Yeah. So she would always need to look at you so she could see what you're saying. And you didn't notice it in the way she spoke, but
wow.
This is my mentor, my deaf grandmother.
Yeah, that's your... Yeah.
That explains a lot.
Yeah. Where'd you first hear some stuff?
Yeah.
Wow. So then that takes you into doing quartets and stuff, and you took to it sounds like you found some kids that were around your age, and the social thing that was important kind of catch you in the music nerd world a little bit. Like,
I think it's hard to isolate yourself when you're in 5th or 6th grade, and if you do, you've got other things to deal with, you know. And so we weren't sitting home alone practicing. We were working with each other, making music and having fun, and
so it felt healthy and good.
Yeah,
sounds like.
I mean, it was like an alternative to sports, I suppose, because we were doing it every day, and
really doing it.
Yeah.
So then what happens? Because then eventually, you know, because you're young, you're high school, right?
Yeah, we went through that. I was with those families all the way through high school.
The Davenports and the Wetzels.
And the Meltings.
The Meltings, yeah. That's good. And then what happens? You're out of high school, and that can be a point where a lot of people sort of fade off of an instrument. I
thought I was going to fade off. I went to my first year at Duluth, and I was also a skier, and I blew my knee out. And
like a competitive
I was a racing
skier?
person. racer, and I
like
wasn't...
on a team type thing?
Yeah.
And you went to University of Minnesota Duluth?
Uh-huh.
Oh.
And I had a terrible accident
Really?
that just ripped my knee apart, and I also thought I was going to go into medical school. I don't know, I was totally nuts. And I couldn't get past the dissection of the fetal pig.
Oh, yeah.
And I just went, okay, what the hell else can I do? And I said, well, I guess I can play the cello.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I thought about where did my friends wind up, and my quartet from junior high to high school, Lori Melting went to Northwestern, and another girl went to Northwestern. So back then you could go to Northwestern, on a reasonable price. I think it was $12,000, and I think we paid $6,000 a year to go to Northwestern. It's now $60,000 or more.
Well, yeah, I'm sure.
Outside of Chicago.
Yeah, I'm sure it's insane.
It's nuts.
Yeah. You used to be able to do that. There was the Pell Grant.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yep.
And people could go to college.
People could be well educated, and they still can be, but you really have to.
You come out with a bucket of debt a lot of times.
Yeah.
And they're just like, take out this student loan. And people are so undereducated about bread that they do it, and you're like, damn.
Sorry.
Hi, George.
Sorry. Anyways, so Northwestern, they have, how's the music department there? Are you thinking of that? Or
it was good. I kind of lost interest in classical cello at that point, and I found this guy, Paul Berliner, who was really into jazz and had written was writing a book about the Chicago jazz scene. And he also was a researcher into the music of the Shona people of Zimbabwe. And he had a class where you built an mbira. So I did that, and I hung out in every class I could with him.
So you felt a connection with dude because you're interested in standard classical repertoire was kind of...
I wasn't all that excited about that anyway. And I just was hanging out with my friends,
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
So when I had a chance to work with him, he showed me a lot.
Yeah.
And, we got to go to Chicago a couple times and hear music, and, he escorted a couple people. And he was a great teacher.
And so what was that like? So you're learning how to improvise then at that point, or what that was. And people I've chatted with sometimes feel like the transition from the quartet world or orchestra that they're in to the other can be a little unnerving, and maybe pick up on, maybe do modal playing or something that is maybe kind of baby steps toward. Was it like that? Is that how he would teach, or did he just go deep end, or how was that?
He was not so much a technique teacher, although I remember transcribing solos with him. So I didn't do a whole lot of it there. It was more opening my ears and an awareness of the tradition, and then when I left college and I came back home, even there I was playing in rock bands.
Really? You're in like a rock band?
Yeah, rock bands. And so, you'd be playing in D, and I'd have to solo in D minor, and I'd be so freaked out about trying to solo in D minor. Because, you're trained to be attached to what you see on a page. And it's all like, it's this thing.
Yeah.
So it took a long time to get over that. It really did.
How did you do that part? Because it's so huge.
It's huge.
And that's kind of the step I'm so interested in too. Like when somebody decides to step off the path.
Yeah.
And somebody goes, well, this is in D minor.
I know.
And you're like, okay.
And how hard can that be? Like so hard at first.
Yeah. And so what? They just throw a mic in front of your.
Yeah, and I was
cello?
playing keyboards too.
Oh, okay.
But it was really challenging at first, and
I bet.
It came down to I guess the transition was memorization. So you'd memorize notes so you wouldn't have to read them.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you had to solo, you memorize the notes that you had to deal with.
Right.
And then slam around on them and,
Mm-hmm.
Hope you caught a few of them.
All right, so you'd kind of cope that way at first.
Yeah.
Just to find little touchstones that you'd remember about for certain tunes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds really fun, though.
Yeah, and it's funny when I talk to people, young people who are trying to figure that out, and I do remember how challenging that was.
Mm-hmm.
But it's hard to imagine why.
Why it was challenging?
Why is it so challenging? I don't know.
Well, I
Are we about to go, George? Are we about to go? Okay.
I think we're generally
Okay.
good. I think there's so much to it. Like, if you've gone through your general musical development with scores, and then you're suddenly doing music and there isn't one, that's weird.
Mm-hmm.
And you're doing it right when you have the score, because if you're hitting it or missing.
Yeah. It's also physical,
Mm-hmm.
You've been trained in this physical loop, this kinesthetic loop.
Yeah. And then you're just off. You're
Yeah.
just untethered.
It's very disorienting at first.
Yeah. And then what happens? So you're doing some rock bands, and you head back here.
Yeah, and then I was in rock bands here, and then I think a huge part of my leap into the music of creative improvisation was through the saxophone legend John Devine. I don't know if you know him, but he was a good friend of mine when I first moved back from school, and we had this. After a while, we had an improvising orchestra called Impork that we made things happen, and I think I was probably further along the path when that happened. But he turned me on to a lot of music, and
Okay. And you're playing cello
yeah,
within that context?
and I had already figured out the amplification thing from rock bands, so
Yeah.
I had that down. And then I guess things grew from that experience, which was about 5 to 8 years.
Yeah,
Of
that's a long
activity.
project.
And we had a lot of guests come in.
And that was a respected project. I remember hearing about Imp.org in town, and people, being hip to it. It wasn't like you were toiling in a basement on some
Well, we were.
mess no one gives a shit about.
We were doing a lot of that too, but somehow we got some support to have these guests come in, and the Walker back then was much more of a local venue.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah. And, if you remember that,
I do.
there was so much to do at the Walker.
Yeah.
And it was like a club. You go to the Walker every weekend because there was something great happening.
The curators at that time and the mission of that institution was completely different and
Totally different.
and foreign from what it is now.
Right.
And I miss it in a lot of ways because I'm sure they can still talk the community angle for grants and and that, but it's just not. It's not like that anymore.
No.
And so it's very rare for them to be interested.
Yeah,
in anything that's in town.
I keep trying to do what I can to remind them that there's a lot going on here, and
Yeah.
and how they would benefit from being more integrated.
Yeah. Well, then so Imp.org is rolling, and then that comes to an end, or some kind of closure?
Well, the end it came to was Butch Morris came to town for a week, and we had a train of people coming once a year, great people. We had Julius Hempel come, we had Roscoe Mitchell. Butch came, and it was just so much fun, and we hung out constantly, and he's just convinced me to move to New York. And
Oh, okay.
so I moved to New York.
Yeah.
And I went there on the the idea that I was going to go to grad school, and I did go to grad school, but
Where was that arranged?
at NYU,
Okay.
and I had to write some thesis, and you had 5 years to write it. I wrote it at 4.75 years.
Yeah, you did.
Because I showed up and barely got through my classes because as soon as I got there, I was like immediately just distracted and involved in every way I could be.
Did you find yourself being able to play out and find cats to play with?
Yeah, constantly.
And that was an easy flow, that transition, because I've talked to other people that went that way and found it more closed for them for some reason.
Yeah.
And it just didn't click. But
It might have been the time that I was there. I'm sure it had something to do with, I started playing with Butch's Conductions and, meeting a lot of great people because of that.
Mm-hmm.
So some of the flow came out of that, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it all came out of that.
Mm-hmm.
It could have, and I just didn't even realize it,
So it sounds like it was sort of a natural place to be. There were just more players
There
and
was
more
so
things
many
going down.
things going down, and that was when you could actually live in the East Village. I mean, if you were careful
Yeah.
and watch your back.
Yeah.
But you could afford to live in the East Village.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a very, very vibrant time of lots of artists, and I know it's totally changed. And
Mm-hmm. So you spent all of grad school?
well, I
Yeah,
didn't. I
roughly.
was sort of half-assed my way through grad school.
But I mean, for that time period, for like a 5-year period, and then...
Yeah, and I did get my thesis in, so I got a degree by the skin of my teeth, and then I lived there for another 6-7 years. I was there for about 13 years, and
Okay.
we made it through 9/11, and we had 2 little kids at that time,
Mm-hmm.
and we just had no money coming in because the industries, there's no film work, there's no recording, just like people who are living hand to mouth,
Yeah.
month to month, we're not making it,
Got real scroungy.
real scroungy. And with little kids, we're just like, whoa, this is too scroungy.
Yeah.
And my husband got a job back here. He's from New York. He got a job back here
Mm-hmm.
full-time as a teacher, so that drew us back in
That's something solid. That's not
2002.
scroungy.
No,
So 02, you come back here.
yeah.
All right.
So it was real hard for me because I thought if I married a New Yorker, that would guarantee my place in New York.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm so glad that it happened, that we ended up back here, because this is a really rich, active, constantly researching community.
This
And-
feels like a good fit for you. You're saying?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to, you have to work hard.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody still has to make a living and, figure out some other way to support their habit.
Mm-hmm.
But it's possible, and then you also can watch other people do their thing and be constantly inspired. And I don't think there's any loss of artistic nourishment here for me at all, and the opposite probably,
I have heard that some people saying how that it's a little truer here in a way because of the lack of opportunity.
I
So
don't
if
even know there's a
someone-
lack of opportunity.
Well, let's say maybe people thinking that, that as relative to New York, let's say, where audiences maybe are not as large or that type of thing, and it just makes your motivation to come from within, maybe.
Yeah.
And I've heard people talking about that.
But also the stimulation of your peers, and there's no lack of that here.
Mm-hmm.
People I think in New York have to codify themselves more, and they don't get to play in as many different projects and experiment as much, and
Yeah.
they can't do as much as we can here because it takes them all day to get somewhere, for one thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and trying to carry a practice space.
Yeah, that too. Where do you practice?
Yeah. Everything's a little bit rough.
And it didn't used to be that hard. It's just gotten a lot harder for people since I've left.
Yeah, but some people still do it. Some people are still in it, obviously, and can make it roll, but not too many people with families. And
Well, I think families definitely, unless you're, like a lot of my smart musician friends found attorneys to marry.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They make that arrangement, and, smart.
yeah, would you marry a musician?
Yeah.
That's insanity.
It's total insanity.
Yeah.
But, it wasn't, I actually was married to somebody else before when I moved to New York, and it's hard to not be married to a musician, I think. At least it was for me.
Yeah. So that might bring us closer to now-ish, and you're playing tonight at the Khyber, so I'm going to let you go shortly to play your set and get warmed up. And just say thanks again for taking the time out.
Yeah, thank you, Paul.
Yeah, good.
Really appreciate the conversation.
Solid.
And all that you're doing with this community and
all right,
the Khyber scene.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I look forward to hearing you play.
It's going to be a good night, I think.
Yeah, all right.
Well, here we are again. We're at the close of another installment of the Khyber Pass podcast. Michelle Kinney, cellist and composer, sat down and we got to know a little bit about what makes her tick as a player. As always, the podcast is brought to you by the Khyber Pass Cafe. Featuring authentic cuisine from Afghanistan. On Grand Avenue in St. Paul, Minnesota. I'm your host, Paul Metzger. Please drop a note if you dig what you hear. We will get another podcast next week. Until then, stay as cool as you can inside of what's happening all around.